5 times when the seller will take an offer that is lower than the highest offer on their house. How can this be? It could be shocking. Oh my God, here goes. So if you have an all cash offer that is lower than the highest on their house, it would be very smart for the seller to accept that, because in an area in the market when appraisals are tough and it may not appraise out, the seller would be wise to take an all cash offer. Also, if you have a pre-approval letter, that is fine. But if you have a pre-qual letter, not so fine. Pre-approval is basically you've gone to the lender, showed them all your pay stubs, ran their credit, and basically showed your cards, and the lender's like, we will approve a loan for you, no problem. But if you walk in with a pre-qual letter, which is basically a conversation with the lender, and yeah, my credit's this, and yeah, I think I can afford that, and I'd like my monthly payment to be X, that's different. So the seller may look at that as an earnest buyer and one that is quasi-interested. So you want to get a pre-approval letter. Number 3 is the time. The time that you allow the seller to stay after the closing. Be a little flexible. You may want to write an offer that is 30-day at closing to show your earnestness about closing on that house. But if the seller needs a little bit more time after the close, my suggestion is at least tell the listing agent and insinuate that you are flexible. You will allow the seller to stay 30 days after the close, sometimes for free. Don't worry about it being free, because when you close on a house, you're paying for 1 month in your escrow, and so you're going to skip a month anyways, so you're not going to have that next month payment. It'll skip a month. So if you allow the sellers to stay a month for free after the close, it's not going to hurt much, but it will allow you to be maybe one step above the next people that have a little bit more money and want to pay more for the house, but you're ready to be flexible, which is great. Number 4, writing a letter. Now, I know some people say letters don't matter anymore. The sellers don't care. They're all greedy anyways. That's not necessarily the case. When you have a amiable seller who has loved her house for 30 or 40 or 50 years and has been through the dynasty of their entire family, they're going to want to look at a letter. They're going to want to know, your kids, where they go to school, your cat, your if you're living with your parents, all the personal information that will allow them to connect with the buyer even more. They will more than likely hover towards the buyer that is not necessarily the one that's going to pay the most, but the one that's going to keep loving on the house like they have. Also, number 5, your contingencies. This could be a whole other video, but the contingencies are when you open up an escrow. If you are flexible on your contingencies, meaning you'll hurry up and do your inspections within 7 to 10 days if you can find an inspector, and maybe be a little bit more flexible on your earnestness on getting a loan, and maybe tightening up those contingencies a little bit more. So if you are tightening up on the contingencies, you have a pre-approval letter, and you are going to allow the sellers to stay after the escrow, and or you're somewhat mostly all cash or more down, the seller will most likely look at yours, even if it's not the highest price that they have seen on the table, but then the combination of those 5 things are going to say, you know what? That's the one I want to be in escrow with. It's not the highest, but he sounds like the great buyer for us. So hopefully that helps.